Hi, I'm Justin, and in this video, I'm going to tell you all about Trustpilot's in-app review collector. The in-app review collector is a way to collect invited reviews directly inside a product, portal, or app. Instead of relying on only email invitations, you can now prompt users for reviews when they are logged in and actively using your service. The goal here is simple: capture feedback at the exact moment engagement is highest, without pulling customers out of their experience. It works especially well for product-led growth models, SaaS platforms, and brands with strong service engagement. There is one requirement: the user needs to be logged into the service or site, not Trustpilot. The implementation work is not overly complicated, and it's ideal for a junior programmer. Let's talk about how the widget works. Everything begins when a customer visits a website or uses an app, usually in a logged-in experience. On the server side, the system gathers the information Trustpilot needs to create a review. That typically includes the customer's email address, name, and a unique reference ID that represents this specific experience. Before anything reaches the front end, that customer data is encrypted. This ensures the information is protected and can't be read or altered in transit. Once encrypted, that data is handed off to the front end. As the interface renders, the encrypted payload is embedded behind the scenes as part of the Trustpilot widget. From the customer's perspective, none of this complexity is visible. What they see is a simple in-app widget asking them to rate their experience. And when the customer selects a star rating in that widget, the action triggers the next step. A new Trustpilot review form opens, already pre-filled with the selected star rating and today's date. The customer then adds their written feedback and submits the review. Once submitted, the review goes through Trustpilot's standard processing. Here's an example of how the widget might appear on a confirmation page. When the user clicks on this widget, a new window will open where the user enters their review. Now let's walk through how to set up the in-app review collector widget. I'm going to navigate to invitations, invitation methods, and here I have two options: emails and website. I'm going to click on website to get the in-app review collector widget. This is a quick screen with just a little bit of information about the process. Now I'm going to click Get Started, and here's our configuration window. Now this window is just like the configuration window for many Trustpilot widgets. I can change my size, I can change the background color, and I can change the border. I can also set a language for the widget. One setting that I really want to highlight here is about tagging. Now, if your plan includes tagging, you can add tags to this widget. That means you can deploy multiple widgets within your user experience and tag them differently. That'll make it easier to identify the data coming from the different widgets within your reporting. Now, I highly recommend looking into this feature a little bit more if you have access to tagging on your plan. Once I've configured my widget, I can click the button and I get instructions for implementing the widget. Now, this information is meant to your developer, but let me give you a quick overview. First, you can get a setup guide, which will give you detailed instructions on the code and the implementation. And the second thing is a secret key for your API. And this allows you to authenticate your API requests with Trustpilot. So this is information that'll be really useful for your developer. Once you have all of this information, you're ready for implementation and to begin collecting reviews. Once you start collecting reviews with the in-app review collector widget, you can view those reviews in your service inbox. And the best way to do that is to actually go through and filter the reviews in your inbox. Now, as I mentioned, you can add tags to your widget, so you can filter reviews based on tag, or you can filter based on source, and you'll be able to identify the reviews coming directly from your widget using this filter. Now I'd like to show you how to look at some of the metrics about your in-app review collector widget. I'm going to navigate to Analytics, and then I'm going to scroll down to in-app review collector. Now, this reporting should look familiar. It's similar to all of the other reporting in Trustpilot. At the very top, we have basic metrics about the performance of the widget. So we have the number of reviews and the average review rating from this widget. And when I look at this, I'm thinking about where is my widget placed? So how many people are seeing it? And that's good context for the number of reviews. And I'm also looking at the average review rating, right? So for the widget, what are people feeling, right? What kind of feedback am I getting for where it's placed? Now, if I scroll down, I get a little bit more detailed information, the average review rating over time, as well as the star distribution. And the last thing I want to point out is what I really like is information about the visibility and engagement with the widget. So views, the number of reviews, and the engagement rate. So this is really good as I try to think about where the widgets are placed and are they getting visibility? So the views will help me understand that. And then are people engaging with them, right? Like that's the next thing. Not only are they seeing them, but are they looking at the widgets? I might want to try to experiment with how they appear, right? And change the color or the border or something like that. And ultimately, I want to see the number of reviews I'm getting from these widgets. Um, Again, the whole idea is to make it part of the customer experience so that you can collect information about different parts of the user experience and have all of that information appear on your profile page. Now let's talk about a few ways you could use the in-app review collector widget. One very common use case will be inserting the widget after support interactions. Triggering a review after a ticket is resolved captures feedback on responsiveness, problem solving, and other attributes of the support process. Another trigger could be when a customer renews, upgrades, or cancels their subscription to a service. These types of reviews can provide deep insights into the product or the service itself. And finally, you could trigger a review after purchase. Now, this is something I want to talk about in a little bit more detail. Now, if you think about it, when someone buys a product or signs up for a service, they haven't experienced that product or service. They've just experienced the checkout process. So it's probably not the best time to ask them for a review of the product or service. You might want to ask them after they've been using the product for a few weeks, a month, or a year. So adding some type of time delay before you show the in-app review collector widget is a good idea. That's an overview of Trustpilot's in-app review collector widget. To learn more, please visit our Help Center. Thanks for watching and see you next time.